Hello again, everyone. Steve Baker, the voice of the Red Hawks here, and very happy to welcome in 2008 graduate, former Miami Red Hawk football player Kyle Decker joins us. And down in Cincinnati from his spot, his set for a podcast that he hosts with fellow alum Calvin Blackman, Underdog podcast. And welcome you in, man. How you doing?
Doing good. It's great to see you, Bake, and it's always a pleasure to be on with you, that's for sure, and love and honor.
Yeah, indeed. Love and honor, and need a lot of it these days, the way things are going. I know, and we'll go over a lot of the things that you have taken from Miami University in your time here, but probably one of the most important things is your wife, a Miami merger. Tell us about yourself and your family, and and how things are going for you and them.
Yeah, I think there's, if anyone learns anything from what I'm saying, is I was lucky enough to marry up. So Oxford was a place where I met my wife, Kristen, and we're Miami mergers. We're proud to be so thankful that we met there at Miami, and married now and have two boys, Riley, who's soon to be 5, and Crosley, soon to be 2. And, it's just a special place, and being a Miami merger means a lot to both Kristen and I. And without her, I would not be where I am as well. So very fortunate.
Yeah, I bet they've already had footballs in their hands and ready to go, right?
Oh yeah, they've been to a couple Miami games, and they're rocking and ready to go. I think they call him Little Gronkowski, my 4-year-old. He's a big guy.
Oh, there you go.
His dad, he should be he's probably gonna be a much better either quarterback, or a lot of people are saying tight end or left tackle. So we'll see.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, that sounds good, and it's a difficult time for all of us to kind of deal with that. But I know that you and your company, you're a co-founder of Riley Decker Companies, and you guys have been working. But we were talking before we went on the air. It's a totally different landscape out there for everybody.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're down but not out, and like anybody. We've all been affected by this, but by no means there's bigger problems in the world than just our business. And we want to try to be part of the solution, and be there and make a difference. And that's something we've really talked about, even behind me. Take a stand and take action and be a light, and just try to be as positive and as impactful. And that's what a lot of things I learned through my opportunity to play and be a student athlete at Miami. That was, very fortunate enough to have that development that now I try to, bring that to our business and life in general.
Yeah. I mentioned an 08 graduate, and I'm going to take you back a little bit before then. When you stepped on the Miami campus for the first time and hadn't even decided where you were going yet, what was it about Miami that hit you and you said, okay, this is where I want to go?
Yeah. It's like you said, looking back, it was the place I wanted to be once I visited. Once you're in Oxford, all roads, there's not an easy road to get to Oxford, but when you're there, you don't want to leave. Right. And the people, and when you get there, you learn about the great people, the passionate community. Obviously the academics are second to none. And, obviously the football program at that point in time, coming off of 2003, and the history of excellence and graduating champions from previous decades. Miami football is the place to be in with Coach Hepner at that point and Coach Montgomery, all facets of an evaluation. There was nothing more than me wanting to be in Oxford.
Well, those were a couple of the guys I wanted to ask you about next, because obviously the late Coach Hepner was the head coach during your time at Miami University. What impact, as you look back on that time and where you are now, what impact did that coaching staff have on you?
We talk about, unfortunately, as you mentioned with the podcast, talking to folks that have played under Coach Hep or been around Coach Hep. Actually, just was fortunate enough, came off a lunch with Dave Lapham. He was talking about Coach Hep. So just today, just came from that. And, he resonates in my life every day. And so does Coach Montgomery and, coaches such as Coach Bath and those mentors and people that I was around, was so fortunate. So for instance, the WIN acronym, what's important now, trust yourself. Those are things we talk about in our company, what I talk about in life, and things that have really resonated. So that leadership that those coaches, and I know the reason why I love to be involved in Miami is the relationships and experiences. Without the relationships of my teammates and even students and the coaches that develop me, those experiences, it's impactful, and it's made me into who I am today.
Hmm. Let's talk about your teammates back then. I mentioned the Underdog podcast with Calvin Blackman. Look at those teammates and tell me what they meant to you, not only from a team standpoint in athletics, but also to get through college and the support that you guys gave each other.
Yeah, and I look back then, and honestly now, Bake, we were just on a Zoom call with a bunch of guys, about 8 to 10 guys from my class, whether it's Braden Combs, who's with the Detroit Lions, to Chris Shula, who's with the LA Rams. Unfortunately, Sean couldn't make that call, but Joe Caniglo, who's coaching the MAC up in Kent, to others that were friends of ours, maybe not student athletes. And, those relationships carry on. I've been out of Miami for almost 12 years, hard to believe. But those relationships and those teammates, I mean, we were together, 120 guys or what have you for 5 years. And now some guys come and go, but even Calvin, my co-host, we didn't play together. We missed each other by a year, but those are relationships, such as Martin Nance to Todd Londot, Josh Betts, who is obviously Mike Kokel. I have a call with his brother, Anthony Kokel, at 4:30 today. He's in logistics. So we're all reaching out to each other to see how we can really, really get through tough times together and maintain and grow relationships even well beyond Miami.
Obviously, you've been very successful with your company to this point. Tell me, and this is a fairly broad question because I imagine it can be a lot of answers out there, but how did Miami prepare you for the career that you have right now to this point?
Like I said, I think the education is second to none. I'll state that to anybody. And I think it starts there. The excellence in the classroom. I think, I was fortunate enough. I love the college curriculum and actually did better in college than in high school. And I really, really adapted to the environment, the professors, and really allowing the students become part of the solution in the classroom, being involved in that atmosphere. And then obviously our schedule as a student athlete, getting up for morning classes, right? I was prepared. We were already, having 10 to 12 hour days, getting up early, going to class, if not winter conditioning or, spring practice, on through to study tables at night. So, in dealing with not only great professors, as I mentioned, then you have coaches, and then you have other people in the community, even like yourself, Baker, at that time, whether it was the president, Hodge, or, on forth with the different student, athlete support staff to our athletic directors, you're just around people all the time that are trying to groom you as a young man, for me at that time, that are constantly setting a really good example. So I think that really, Bake, really set the foundation for me to transition quickly to be a young leader here at Riley Decker, the Job Center, and to really grow. People were like, well, how do you do that? Well, that's what I did at Miami.
Yeah. Very good. Obviously, you are one of those folks that give back in a great way to Miami University. I mean, you and Kristen were awarded the Don Loss Volunteer of the Year Award for your efforts in helping Miami athletics. Your volunteers on the Cincinnati Athletic Development Advisory Committee, member of the Athletic Directors Circle. What inspired you and your wife to invest in Miami football and Miami athletics, both with your finances and obviously with your time?
Yeah, and I think it was just I talk a lot about self-awareness. And I think when I first graduated college and started having early success, there's a disengagement, I think, from Miami. And I was fortunate enough to randomly be on a flight with Jude Keeley, who anyone that knows Jude and is an exceptional man and a guy that epitomizes Miami like no one else. And we sat there and reconnected. And it really, really was a humbling experience to really kind of look back on my journey there and understand how much of those, the foundation and those, like I said, those discipline and behaviors that were given to me during that time and those relationships, then how it's helping me be successful now. And back then, that was years back. And really, I just decided, part of whatever I have earned, should go back to those things that helped. And that's just my personal philosophy. I think that without Miami, I wouldn't be able to be in the spot I'm in. So I think others, call to action is that others, I hope, think about their journey and how much that Miami experience was pertinent to their success, and they do the same.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Underdog podcast, you guys have been doing this for a while. And Miami fans, if you haven't already found it, I encourage you to find the Underdog podcast with Kyle and Calvin Blackman. I understand you recently had a chance to talk with Coach Martin. Tell us a little bit about that project, the podcast itself, and working with that and talking with Coach Martin.
Sure. We somehow, some way, even when we're talking to maybe rivals or competitive programs, because we do a lot of coaching in there, it comes back to Miami first and foremost. Somehow we always laugh. We had Flying Brian Pillman Jr., a wrestler, and his dad played, great player, obviously at Miami, to Dylan McCullough, Super Bowl champion. He was just on to even some of our rivals down at UC talking about how important Miami is and the respect. Coach Urban Meyer, we had him on, talked about Miami. The amount of things that go through Oxford, Ohio, or relationships that are there, it's incredible. And then, we were fortunate enough and very thankful to have Coach Martin on. And he was a fantastic. I can't wait to release his podcast. And of course, Miami is really important. I had a surprise that I surprised everyone with. The jersey doesn't fit like it used to, Bake, but no one knew it even in the studio here per se, as we call it, and ripped off my jacket and had the old jersey. It doesn't fit like it used to though. So I apologize to the video. Anyone that's going to check us out online on the video piece, I apologize. It doesn't fit like it used to. That's for sure.
Well, that's to be expected. Trust me, man. In looking back at all those interviews and stuff, what's been most inspiring from those stories that you hear? I mean, it's all about hard work and perseverance. Those are the people that you're talking to, and tell me about some of those inspiring stories and what it's meant to you.
Yeah, actually, another Miami connection, John Schemmel, who's in the athletic department, his uncle Jerry was in a plane crash, and he survived, and what he's done to impact, people in the communities and different initiatives. We had a young man, Austin Hatch, played basketball at Michigan, went through 2 plane crashes, lost all of his family, to then this week was Chris Herron, who had a significant, severe drug addiction, overcame that. So, we really, really, I thought at times I'm, very humble with things and the privilege I've had in my life when you interview folks and really understand the hardships like Dylan McCullough and what he went through coming through Youngstown and through Miami and not really understanding who his father was, to even former football player Dante Wright, who's now at West Virginia, until you guys hear his story, which we'll release. Dante is a very emotional story for us, and not having parents after high school and even making it through Miami as well as he did. I just think honestly, it's been the best thing for me. A lot of people have questioned the why spend time, because it's not a revenue generator for us. It's not about money. It's about trying to create a platform of positivity. And right now, I think we could all utilize that. We're hoping to bring the local Cincinnati community. I've talked to Jeff Pagay, he's a great Miami alum, who's working on the front lines with news and trying to have him help us and create a platform with the police and the community here, and really try to be part of the solution. I know Miami being in Oxford, being a big part of Cincinnati, I hope that we can give maybe some sort of open dialogue in our communities and, try to really make this thing start to move forward, which I think it can.
I appreciate it. And again, if you haven't found it, look up Underdog Podcast. I promise that you're going to really, really enjoy what Kyle Decker and Calvin Blackman are doing. Man, it's great talking to you. I appreciate you taking the time to join us here. You are a great example of what Miami Athletics stands for, means, and what we hope for all of our athletes as they come through, man. And I appreciate you a great deal, and appreciate you taking the time.
And just real quick, I know you recently graduated last year, right?
Yeah. Got an associate's degree in December. Yeah.
And congratulations to you. And I hope this still makes it, so don't cut off the recording. But Steve, I know you do so much for Miami, and give credit. I know you're a humble person, but you've done so much for the university, all the stuff you guys do, and there's a ton of people behind the scenes, but I'm super thankful. And, there needs to be more people like you around there. I know we have a lot. We need more. And, very thankful for everything at Miami. I'm thankful for my teammates. And I just recommend anyone, if anyone's listening to this and I can help you, feel free to reach out to me. I'm all about helping each other, especially in these times. I've really done a lot of self-reflection. I want to be more part of the solution. And if I can help any young women or men coming out of Miami, feel free to reach out. That's what we're here to do. We got a great staff, and the Miami connections is fantastic. So thank you guys again.
Kyle, this is Brett Gabbard here. On behalf of the Miami football team, I just want to say thank you very much for all your generous donations. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do all that we do on and off the field. So thank you very much.